If you ever wished you could clean, tag, rename, and reorganize thousands of photos in minutes, not days, the Exiftool is your secret superpower. It's not flashy, it doesn't have a pretty interface, but once you know a handful of commands, it's faster and more precise than almost anything else out there. Now, I know the words command line might make you want to run for the hills, but stick with me. I'll take you from downloading and installing the Exiftool right through to some of my favorite beginner-friendly commands, and then into something a little bit more advanced that saves you hours of work. And make sure you stick around until the end because I'll share my favorite bonus tip, how to totally safely dress rehearse for big changes before you commit to them. That way you can build confidence without the risk of ruining all your files. First things first, how do you actually get the Exiftool? On the Mac, the good news is it usually comes pre-installed. To check, open up Spotlight with the search icon or Command and space, and type in Terminal. Press Enter and a terminal window will open. This is your command line area. Then type in Exiftool -ver, and then you should see a version number and you're all set. If you don't, head on over to the exiftool.org and download the Mac installer. It comes as a .dmg file. Open it up, follow the instructions, and you're good to go. On Windows, it's a slightly different process. First, download the zip file from exiftool.org. Extract the zip file, and inside you'll find a file called exiftool-k.exe. Rename it to just exiftool.exe to make your life easier. Then drop that file and the EXIF files folder straight into your Windows folder. It makes it available to everywhere. Just click through any warning prompts and then open up a command area in Windows. Go to the Start area and start typing command prompt and hit enter. Then a window will come up, and again you can test to make sure that it's worked by typing in exiftool-ver and you should get a number. For this video, I'll be showing commands on the Mac using Terminal, but don't worry, if you're on Windows, everything works in the same way. You'll just be typing into the command prompt instead of Terminal, and the screen will look just a little bit different. The basics, how to run commands. So how do you actually use it? Every Exiftool command follows the same structure. The word Exiftool, then what options you want, then tags, and then a list of file or folders. The options are flags like -r to run through subfolders or -overwrite_original to stop it making backup copies. The tags are the pieces of metadata you want to look at or change, like the date, time, original or ratings. And then the last part is the files or folders, are where you want to point it towards, the photos you want to work on. So for example, if I just wanted to see the date a photo was taken, I'd put in Exiftool -date time original and then photo.jpg, the file name. If I wanted to change that date, I'd type Exiftool -date time original equals and then the date I want to change it to, and then my file, photo.jpg. So the flow is always, what do you want to do, which tag, and which file or folder. Don't worry, I'm going to talk you through each command and break it down so you can really understand what is going on here. Navigation basics. The next thing is being comfortable moving around in the command line. The good news is it's not as mysterious as it looks. When you open Terminal on your Mac or Command Prompt on Windows, you'll see a little line of text ending with a blinking cursor. This is your prompt. It usually shows which folder you're in right now. On a Mac, it looks something like Amanda at MacBook or whatever you've called your MacBook. And on Windows, it should have a C and then a line and then users and Amanda. That last part tells you where you are at the moment. From here, you can move around just like you would in Finder or File Explorer, but you just type stuff instead. To go into a folder, type CD followed by the folder name. All you can do is just drag that folder from your Finder or Explorer window. To go up, just type CD and it will take you one folder up. To see what's inside the current folder, type LS on a Mac or DIR on Windows and it will tell you where you are. To double check exactly where you are, type PWD and it will show you where you are. On Windows, CD by itself also just prints the entire current path. Think of it like standing in a room and opening doors. CD moves you around, LS or DR shows you what's in the room, and PWD tells you your address. Once you know where you are, you can point the Exiftool at the right set of photos and get to work. Inspecting metadata. Now let's get into the good stuff. The Exiftool is first and foremost a metadata powerhouse. Before I change anything, I always take a look at what's already there. It's not as simple as you would think, but work with me here. I'm going to walk you through it. To see all the time fields in a file, I run this command prompt. What you do is you take that command prompt and then at the end, you drag your file into it, press enter, and it will give all this lovely information. But what exactly is going on with all of that command prompt? Well, the -G1, this shows the group that each piece of metadata belongs to. For example, you might see EXIF, file, XMP next to a tag. That's useful because it's the same information can sometimes exist in different places. And this tells you exactly which one you are looking at. The -A means show duplicates. Without it, Exiftool hides repeated tags and just shows the first. With the -A, you see everything. So if you have two versions of date created existing in different groups, you'll spot it. Then the -S, this gives you the short tag names instead of the full technical ones. For example, you'll see date created instead of date time original with a long namespace attached. Much easier to read at a glance. Next along, we have -time::all. This pulls every time related field EXIF knows about. When the field was created, modified, digitized, and so on. If we left that out, we would get all of our lovely data. And after this, I'm getting even more specific. I'm asking for 3 specific time fields. The file's created date, the EXIF date time original, which is usually when the photo was taken, and the file's modified date. These 3 are the most useful for photo organizing. It's like lifting the bonnet of your photo and you'll see everything inside, not just what Finder or File Explorer wants to show you. Now, what if you don't want to do this one file at a time? This is where -R comes in. -R means recursive. So the Exiftool doesn't just check the folder you're in, it also checks all the subfolders. So in our little example, it becomes this. That little extra -R means the command crawls through your entire folder structure and reports back all the time metadata fields it finds. But the problem is, when I put this into my command prompt, my folder also has Excel files and text files and other stuff that I don't really want to know about. So if I want the Exiftool to only look at photos, not every random file, I need to add an extra option, which is -ext. If I use this as the command prompt, you'll see that when I run it, all I am getting is JPEG files. So let's break down this new command. My -R means I'm looking at all of the folders and subfolders. Then I've got this -ext and then things like JPEGs. And then I've got a -ext HEIC. Then I've got a -ext DNG. It means that it's only going to scan files ending in JPG, HEIC, and DNG. Then it just means that all I'm seeing are my photo files. And if you have other extensions, just add those in as well, with a -ext with them. So the order is options first, so -R or -ext, then your tags, so the time, etc. And then finally, the folder or files you're scanning. That way you're not wasting time scanning files that don't matter, and you can run one command to see all your photo dates across your entire library. Controlling dates and times. Dates are where the Exiftool really shines. Getting them right makes your whole library easier to search, sort, and enjoy. Let's walk through the most common fixes and what each command actually does. Make every photo in a folder share the same date. This is really useful if you've scanned an old photo album and all the files came out with today's date. Instead, you can assign them the correct taken date. Let's have a look at what I started with. To do that, I can just ask the Exiftool to give me my date time original. And you can see these are all over the shop. I actually want to keep them all the same. And I'm going to use this command. Put it in, point it towards my directory, and now all of the dates will have changed to the 1st of January 2000. Let's go and check. There you go. So let's break down what is going on here. This first bit, this dash date time original with all this other lovely stuff at the end, sets the date time original field, the actual photo taken time, to January the 1st, 2000 at 1 a.m. The dash overwrite original tells the Exiftool to update the file directly without keeping a backup copy. And every time you see dir on any of my command prompts, it just means don't put dir, put the folder containing the photos that you want to change. So drag it in from Finder. The result is every photo in the folder now has the same timestamp. So they sort properly by event rather than the scan date. So if I go back and check, the date on one of the photos can be seen to date time original is now the 1st of January 2000. Space scanned photos apart so they sort in order. When you scan a batch of photos, they often end up with the exact same time. Or in the previous thing, I changed everything to the same time. But it means that your computer will sort them randomly. The trick is to add 61 seconds between each photo so they order nicely. So you can see on my previous files, I now just have everything sat to 1 a.m., which is not very helpful. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use this. I'm going to paste it in, I'm going to run it, and I'm going to run it for that folder of files, and we'll see what happens. Let's break down what's going on. The dash datetime original plus means add something to the datetime original. Then this file sequence 61 creates a running counter. The first photo gets no extra time, the second gets 61 seconds, the third gets 122 seconds, and so on. The result is a neat 1 minute time gap between every photo, so they line up logically when they're sorted by date. Copying the file's system date into the photo metadata. Sometimes your file system knows the right date, but the EXIF tag inside the photo is blank or incorrect. This command copies the file last modified date into the EXIF datetime original field. So, this is what my files look like to start with. But what I want to do is I want to change the modified date to my datetime original. So I'm going to use this command on my little folder of photos. Let's go and break down exactly what's going on. This dash datetime original and then filed modified date means take the file's modified date and write it into the datetime original tag. You can see it with a little arrow. Then our dash P preserves the file's original system timestamp. So you're not messing with the file itself, just its metadata. Your photo files will now carry an actual date taken in the EXIF metadata, making them correctly sort in photo software like Apple Photos, Lightroom, Mylio, Google Photos, even if they didn't have a date before. And you can see that they match. Both the datetime original and my modified date are now matching. Copy the EXIF date back into the file system. The reverse situation also happens. Your photo has the right EXIF date, but your computer thinks it was created today or some other random day. This command pushes the correct EXIF date back into the file system. So these are the files that I had before, and if I run this command, it's going to change them. Let's break down what's going on. So this dash file modified date and then date time original, this is the key bit. It says, take the value of the date time original, so when the photo was actually taken inside the EXIF metadata, and copy it to the file modified date, the file system's last modified date stamp. The one Finder and File Explorer use when sorting by date, if you use that. Then our -p will preserve the file's original file system timestamps, except for the ones you're deliberately changing. It stops the EXIF tool from accidentally updating the last accessed or last modified just because you touch the file. Then we've got our dir, which is whatever folder of files you want to change. Now, Finder and File Explorer will show the right date taken instead of the wrong one. So let's see how it's changed in our EXIF tool. You can see that the date time original and the file modified date are now the same. But you can also pull the date out of the file name if the metadata is missing. Now, sometimes the dates are totally gone, but we may still have the date the file was taken in the name, and we can pull that date out of the file name if the metadata is missing. So you can see in these files, the date of the EXIF date time original is wrong, but I can see in the file name, the date is correct. What I'm going to use is this little command. Don't panic, let's work out what exactly is happening here. So the dash date time original, so set the date time original metadata tag based on whatever inside the next bit, the brackets. The $ file name basically means grab the file name itself, and then we're going to run this kind of substitution. So all of this S and the Ds and all this kind of stuff is a regex pattern. It looks for 6 groups of numbers in the file name. The first 4 digits, year. Then the next 2 digits, month. The next 2 digits are the day. Then maybe a dash or underscore between the date and time. And then I want you to take the hour, minute, and seconds. Then this bit afterwards with all these $ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rebuilds those groups into a standard EXIF date time. Year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds. The result is if your file was called 2025-09-19-144500, the EXIF tool writes the metadata as the date time original 2025-09-19-1445 and 0 seconds. So let's go back to those files I've just changed. And here you can see that the date time original has now picked up the same information that was in my file name. How useful is that? So now your file names and metadata match, meaning photo software can sort them properly even if the original metadata was missing. Fix the wrong time zone. Have you ever taken a holiday photo and forgotten to change your camera clock and ended up with the photo's stamps hours out? The EXIF tool can shift every day in one go. For example, add 12 hours. So here are some photos I took while I was on holiday in New Zealand. But all of the times are 9 o'clock in the morning, and actually they should be 9 o'clock at night. So what I'm going to use is this little command. Let's work out what is going on. So the dash all dates plus 12 means add 12 hours to the date fields. If you want to subtract, just take the plus and turn it into a minus. Then we have our dash overwrite originals, update the files directly. Dash R runs through all the folders and the subfolders. And then the dir is your directory of files that you want to change. If we look at the results, you can see that now the times are correct. They are now saying 9 o'clock at night, not 9 o'clock in the morning. And if you're watching this thinking, Amanda, this is powerful, but my problem isn't metadata. It's the 50,000 photos scattered across drives, phones, and clouds. Then you want to check out my Photo Mess Success courses. They are a clear step-by-step plan to take you from chaos to clarity. Once you've got that system in place, using the EXIF tool becomes the fun, powerful part instead of the rescue mission. You'll find out all the details at photomesssuccess.co.uk. But for now, back to those commands. Renaming files. One of the best ways to bring order to a messy photo library is by giving your files proper names. Instead of random strings like image1234, you can rename them to include the exact date and time the photo was taken. That way your files sort neatly in order and they're easy to scan at a glance, and duplicates don't sneak past you. So let's have a look at these really unhelpful files. They don't mean anything. So I'm going to use this little command to be able to change my file names from the date time original. What's happening here? So we've got -filename. This tells the EXIF tool to set the file name based on whatever's inside our little brackets that we're going to put together. So we've got $DateTimeOriginal. This means basically use the datetime original when the photo was actually taken. The hashtag means use the raw value. Don't adjust it with time zones or formatting. Then we're going to talk about the date format. This little thing tells it the format to use in the string. So if our string is 2025-09-19-14-45-00, the %y is the year, %m is the month, %d is the day, then we've got hour, minute, and seconds. The dashes and underscores are just separators that you can choose. Then our underscore %-c. This adds a copy file if there is a name clash. So if two photos were taken at exactly the same time with exactly the same number of seconds, you'd get -1, -2, just so you know the difference. Our little bit that says %e keeps the original file extension. So JPEG, HEIC, whatever. Then you know these already. Our -r is recursive, so it's going to do all my folders and files. And the dir is the folder of files that you're working on. So you can see the result that I get. Every file gets renamed in a clean, sortable timestamp based so that I get my year, month, day, and then the time. Perfect for chronological organizing. Now every file has the name that's easy to see. Cleaning metadata. Sometimes your photos can carry a lot more information than you realize. Alongside the image itself, files often contain things like GPS coordinates, where the photo was taken, or a tiny embedded thumbnail. That's fine if the photos stay on your computer, but if you're sharing online or sending to someone else, you might want to strip those out for your privacy. The EXIF tool makes it really quick and safe to do. Remove embedded thumbnails. So if I look at this file using the EXIF thumbnail image command, here you can see I do have a file because it gives me a result. But if I use this command, it will overwrite and get rid of that image. What the command is doing is this -thumbnail image, the equals tells the EXIF tool to delete that tag. In this case, it removes the hidden thumbnail copy of your photo. The -overwrite original updates the file directly without keeping a backup. And dir is your folder of files. The result is that then when I look for my thumbnail image again, the result is your files no longer carry a tiny duplicate thumbnail inside them. This keeps file size small and avoids sharing hidden, low-quality previews. Remove all GPS data. Also, removing your GPS data is a really good way of not showing where you're taking your photos. If I look at this photo and try and look for the latitude and longitude, you can see you could tell exactly where this photo was taken. However, if I use this little command, that data is going to disappear. Let's talk through the command. So the -GPS:all wipes away every GPS related tag, longitude, latitude, altitude, even GPS timestamp. The -overwrite original, same as before, changes the file directly, and my dir, again, is the folder you're working on. So the result when I run this is your photo will no longer include that location data. When I run and look for it, it just comes up blank. So when you're uploading or sharing them, no one can see exactly where the photo was taken. Bonus tip, safe dress rehearsal. Here's the bonus tip I promised, the dress rehearsal. If you're about to rename or reorganize thousands of photos, it's smart to test it first without touching your originals. With the Exiftool, you can copy everything into a safe sandbox folder, apply the changes there, and then review the results. Once you're confident, you can run the real command on your main library. The prompt to create our safe sandbox is this. So I'm just going to type it in and I'm going to run it on this particular folder of photos. Let's work out the breakdown before I show you what happens. So the -r recursively, it processes all the subfolders inside the target directory. The -o safe sandbox tells the Exiftool to write all the output into a folder called safe sandbox in the home area or whatever folder location you are. So I'm sat in my Exiftool instead of overwriting the originals. In Windows, it creates the safe sanebox in the folder where you're running the command. This -file names and then the datetime original and all this kind of stuff. This we've already seen. This renames the files by date and time, adding a -1 or 2 for duplicates, and will keep the original extension. Then we have our dir, which is the folder that we're working on, and the result is what we get is this. My originals stay untouched. But inside this little folder saying Safe Sandbox, you get a copy of your photos renamed in a clean date-based structure. So it means that I can make sure that the command works before I then go and play with my actual originals. Perfect. If you'd like to see how I combine these commands with a photo management tool, then check out this little video next on the photo management tool that is right for you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more photo organizing tips. Have fun rediscovering your memories. I'll see you in my next video.